Charlie Gillis here from Maclean's magazine. I'm with Emma Title. We've just finished watching the first Toronto mayoral debate, and I'd have to say that expectations for Rob Ford were low. Emma, how do you think he did?
I think he did very well. Clearly the polls show he did very well. He was aggressive. I think that a lot of people responded well to that. What do you think?
I really see this as a missed opportunity for some of his opponents. I mean, it astounds me that the word crack was never mentioned during this debate until one of the reporters asking a question finally brought it up. And, you know, I have to assume that this is a result of the fact that a lot of the candidates believe that the voters have made up their mind that they're going to replace Rob Ford, and they want to appear statesmanlike.
Yeah. I totally agree. I was so surprised that it was only brought up at the end as well, because, you know, they sort of seemed to skirt around it the entire time, and I thought, you know, for sure they would, you know, they would mention it once or twice, but it was almost like this elephant in the room, like, don't go there, and I was really surprised by that. What do you think?
Well, you know, for Rob Ford to pull 40% on the question of leadership is utterly astounding, and I think that relates in large measure to the way he responded to some of the other questions. It's funny, like I believe that issues like transit and finance feed into the issue of leadership, and he was, you know, he seems strongest because he's able to brand people with a very short phrase. I mean, he did it to Soknacki by just mentioning the fact that he was David Miller's budget chief, and I think that for a lot of Ford's former voters from 2010, that's going to resonate very well.
Mm-hmm. I think he was also surprised by how well Soknacki did. I thought he did really well.
Yeah, you know, Soknacki, I think, failed to cut through a lot of the noise. I'd have to say, I think I disagree with that. I mean, Soknacki for me is probably he's the most courageous candidate. He's the one having the adult conversation about how we fund transit. How the police budget and the TTC budget are these elephants in the room that nobody wants to talk about. But I'm not sure he's going to be rewarded for that. And on top of that, it just feels to me that like Rob Ford in those free-for-alls was able to stampede over all of them and still, you know, get his talking points out on top. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're also, you know, watching Olivia Chow closely, because I think that she was generally considered going into this. It was either she or John Tory as, you know, kind of the top contender. Which of those two did you think performed best?
I thought Chow did well, and I really liked her slogan. I don't know if she's used that before, where she said, the gravy train is now the crazy train. I like that.
Yeah, and she's
we need more of that.
And
more,
that line
more
about
corny slogans.
Yeah,
you know?
and the circus tent having to come back.
Yeah.
I think that probably.
And when she said that thing, she was like, "We're not on the golf course." That was good.
Yeah, that was quite a blow, and there was no knockout punch here, was there? I mean, I didn't really hear it. I mean, I think the closest thing to a knockout punch was when Ford reached out and he kind of slapped John Tory by mentioning the fact that Tory had run provincially, and his Ford put it fell flat on his face. But, you know, that's not devastating. We're in a 7-month campaign here, so who knows what else is going to happen. But, you know, my takeaway from it is, look, these candidates cannot think that Rob Ford is just going to go away. I mean, you know, when expectations are this low, if he looks at all on top of a file, that's going to impress a lot of people. Mm-hmm.
And he managed to get in all of his usual little slogans there. He got the 180 cranes in the sky, I'm not perfect, I made mistakes, going forward. Any others?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't hear him say anything about, you know, I wasn't elected to be perfect.
No, so, he did at one point,
okay.
Because he did his usual in response to the crack question.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, it's really, I think, an opportunity for a candidate to say, well, nor were you elected to smoke crack and to lie and to consort with known criminals. You know, I think they're going to have to get their hands dirty and do that stuff because, you know, honestly, I don't think the guy's going away. All right. Well, thanks a lot, and stay tuned. I think there are more debates to come, and it's going to be very interesting going forward.
Thanks, Charlie.